Hi everyone, I am Heather's sex and relationship coach intern, Byrd, and today I have a workshop for you all about spicing your love life just in time for Valentine's Day. It'll be designed to help you transform everyday routines into moments of romance and connection. I'll be offering you practical tools and inspiration to reignite your spark. This is being recorded. It was supposed to be a live workshop, but we are having some technical difficulties, so you'll see some parts of this that were for live interaction. You can go ahead and put that in the comments below this video instead, because I love to hear from you. So let's go ahead and get started. So here are some of the goals of today's workshop, from reflecting on barriers to intimacy, understanding yourself and your partners better through sharing, intimacy blocks, learning about what blocks that, getting deeper with practical activities, tips for bringing back the romance and emotional spark, as well as how to spice things up in the bedroom, plus a freebie. So let's start with a bit of a reflection. What's one of your favorite things about your partners or your love life? So I'll give you about a minute. And like I said, please feel free to share any reflections or anything in the comments of this video. Alrighty, awesome. So let's dive in with talking about some of what blocks intimacy. I'm going to touch on fatigue, stress, routine, sex ruts, and loss of romance. So, fatigue and stress are real barriers to sex and intimacy, and who doesn't experience these? I know I do. So, fatigue is more than sleepiness, it's extreme tiredness, weakness, and an absence of energy. And it can come anywhere from burnout from work, a chronic illness, or hormones. And while sleepiness can and will also impact your sex life, it can be cured with restorative sleep, while fatigue might not be. So, fatigue can impact your love life by making it difficult to find the energy for sex, impact your mood, or make it challenging to find connective time within your energy budget. Stress shows up from a variety of causes, as you probably know, like work, discrimination, or major life events. And it will impact your sex life in all kinds of ways, including decreasing your desire or satisfaction. You can imagine that it makes sense when you're in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn response. It can feel almost impossible to sink into your pleasure. And so, even though sex, physically connecting, skin on skin contact releases feel good hormones like endorphins, which will reduce your stress, we have to get calm enough in the first place to get there. And so, all this to say, the less stress you have, the better your sex life will be. Not to leave you hanging, but we'll talk about some ways to cope with this later on in this workshop. So, routine and loss of romance is something that is especially common in longer term relationships, but obviously can happen to anybody. And factors include kids, work or school, a feeling of never ending tasks or a long to do list, or feeling like roommates instead of lovers. And so, later on in the workshop, we'll talk about how important novelty and romance is for bring that into your routines. So let's talk about some of the causes of a sex rut. So a sex rut can be caused by sameness or routine in your sex life, like constantly going through the same motions or sexual script when it comes to sex, Like, we always cuddle, and then we kiss, and then we have intercourse in the same position every time. Sex can begin to feel mundane, boring, and kind of blah. Moreover, a sex rut can come from or lead to little to no sex, and this can kind of become a feedback loop as well, as you can imagine. And so, if sex isn't pleasurable for one or more of you due to something like pain, a lack of communication, or incorrect technique, it can make you feel less inclined to have it or just make it kind of an unenjoyable rut. Finally, a lack of emotional intimacy for those in relationships, especially, but obviously it can happen to anyone, can make it difficult to be vulnerable during sex, talk about your needs and desires, or make sex feel connective. And so this can lead to unfulfilling sex or make it difficult to get into the mood. Okay, did any of that resonate? You can let me know in the comments below. So let's do a little activity. So we'll spend a few minutes, about 5, individually journaling or reflecting on these prompts. So if your partner or your partners are with you, do this individually. So journal in whatever way is most accessible to you or appealing to you, writing on paper if you're a, Google Doc kind of person, using voice memo like voice recording, art, or you could just sit and reflect silently as well. And so I have questions here that tailor to both those in relationships and those solo. So I'll read them now. What did you do at the beginning of your relationship that made it exciting? Or what makes your relationships exciting in general? What routines or habits might have dulled that excitement? Or what dulls your excitement in relationships in general? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to work on that. About another 2 minutes. All right, begin to wrap this up. A few more seconds. I hope this was enlightening for you. We're going to do the second part of this activity now. All right. So, if your partners are here watching this with you and you feel comfortable, go ahead and spend the next 5 minutes sharing what came up for you both, whatever feels comfortable to share. Or if you're here solo, or if you'd rather just do this solo, you can reflect on what you wrote by yourself. Just take a look at it and reflect. And if you have any reflections that you want to share with me or the other channel viewers, put it in the chat below because I'd love to hear from you. About another 2 minutes. Alrighty, awesome. I hope that that was helpful for you and insightful. So now that you've reflected on what has been exciting in your relationship, what habits and routines have dulled that spark, let's talk about a few ideas to ignite that passion again. So, in terms of romance, quality time sounds pretty obvious, right? But it's something that it's good to remember to do. So, what does quality time mean to you and your partners? Is it phone free time, regular dates, and check ins at the end of the day? Non sexual touch increases your intimacy and can even help your sex life. Think about holding hands, hugging, or sharing a kiss goodbye before work. For routine, break through your routines and ruts with novelty. For example, when was the last time that you took a class or a trip together? Maybe a walk around the park in a different area of town, and adding novelty in the bedroom is important and exciting too, and we'll be discussing that in a little bit. So, something I say a lot is de-stressing is one of the best things you can do for your sex life. So, think about the top 3 stressors in your life. Identifying them is the first step. The second step is coping skills. So, coping skills like exercise, sleep, meditation, or spending time in nature, things you hear again and again. But if you're having trouble using your coping skills regularly, think about what are your barriers to these self-care strategies that work for you and how can you minimize them. For example, if you used to go on a morning run, which made you feel better, but now you don't because it's winter and it's dark and it's cold in the morning, maybe you could run at a different time. Maybe you can use a treadmill indoors. Having an accountability buddy or 2 or 3 can be important too. So maybe you can turn self-care strategies into an activity that you do with your partners with the added bonus of having that accountability buddy and spending time together. So that could be moving your bodies together, cooking and nourishing meals with one another, or even meditating together. In terms of fatigue, small gestures can have a big impact. So maybe think about a little act of service like making your partner a cup of tea before bed, or maybe a surprise love note that you stick on the fridge with a magnet. What is within your energy budget? That could be a small gesture and have a big impact in the intimacy in your relationship. Getting real rest is also important as well. So, Dr. Dalton Smith came up with these 7 types of rest that we need: physical rest, mental rest, emotional rest, sensory rest, creative rest, social rest, and spiritual rest. So, when thinking about fatigue, it can be important to think about where it is that you're fatigued in those 7 types of rest. Is it physically, emotionally, creatively, and so on? Moreover, what would give you more energy for sex intimacy? Could it be napping after work so that you have some physical and some sensorial rest for sex that evening? It could be cutting down in one of these other areas so that you have more energy for sex. Obviously, fatigue can be difficult to treat, especially if you have a chronic illness, but these are just a few strategies that you can add to your toolbox. So we're going to watch a little video. I really like the metaphor that Ruth Ramsey, a sex educator, uses in this video. So let's watch, and in the comments below, let me know what you think.
I'll explain what I mean with a comparison. Let's compare sex to tennis without the competitive element. So imagine you want to play better tennis more often with your partner. What would you do? You'd talk about tennis, both on and off the court. You'd get your diaries out and you'd plan when to play. You'd be keen to learn. Maybe you'd invest in lessons or watch free tutorials online or read about it. You'd be curious about techniques you hadn't tried. Maybe you'd experiment with specialist tennis clothing or high-tech accessories. One day, you'd want a long, intense match, and another just a quick bit of sweaty fun. So you'd always check in. What do you fancy today? If you developed a physical pain which stopped you playing, you'd see a medical specialist and you'd be keen to get back on the court. You'd agree the most important thing is that you both enjoy it. And you'd soon find you were playing better tennis more often. But that's how we approach a hobby. It's very different to how most people approach sex. Most of us never talk about sex, even with the people we're having it with. We certainly don't get our diaries out and plan when to do it. We just hope we'll spontaneously want it at the same time. We don't educate ourselves, and most of what we were taught when we were young was what can go wrong. If there is a physical problem, we're embarrassed. Often we don't see a doctor. We might not even tell our partner. We just make excuses to avoid the whole thing or grit our teeth and pretend that we're enjoying it. When we do have sex, we typically do the same acts in the same order as we've done for years. Imagine if we did that on the tennis court, how quickly we'd get bored. So it's no wonder we're not doing it or enjoying it as much as we'd like to. Let's start to approach sex like a hobby instead. Let's talk about it, especially with the people we're having it with.
Alrighty, so what did you think of that video? You can let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to watch the whole thing, I think it's about a 6-minute video. It's called Revamp Your Sex Life in 6 Minutes with Ruth Ramsey, and it's a TED Talk on YouTube. So I think that this reframe could be really helpful to those watching that feel nervous about implementing some of the solutions to spicing up your sex and love life that we're touching on. I also love what she mentioned about treating injuries and pain, accessories, lessons, spicing things up, and scheduling sex. So, not surprisingly, researchers have found that physical touch benefits our mental and physical health, particularly, are you ready for this? Around sleep, heart rate, mood, blood pressure, mobility, anxiety, depression, fatigue, and pain for adults. That's a lot, right? So, since you're already here, I wanted to introduce some built-in time to do a mindful touch exercise, and I can already hear some of you groaning and wincing because this might feel awkward, it might feel scary, but just try it. Try it. So, I'll be giving you 7 minutes, which you can split between all partners or spend with yourself, which is important too. So, decide if you're going to do this yourself or with your partners. And pick a body part like the arm, the hand, the calf, or the face with consent from your partners as well as within your own boundaries, and explore that area. You're going to be exploring what it feels like. What's the temperature? Explore with different kinds of pressures. What thoughts and emotions rise in yourself and with your partners. So keep open communication, try and be present, and if it feels awkward or scary, which it might, that's okay. Embrace it. Communicate about it. It'll be over in just a few minutes. So I'll give you 7 minutes. Do that now. Remember, what does it feel like? What's the temperature? Explore with different pressures. What thoughts and emotions arise in yourself and in your partners? Open communication and presence with each other. Just a few more minutes. All right. Begin to wrap it up. Okay. Awesome. So, how was that? You can think about your thoughts and emotions, how you were communicating during it, if you did this with partners, and what came up for you in your body. You can go ahead and let everyone know down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, let's talk about the foundation to spicing things up in the bedroom. So, when having sex, it's good to remember to slow down and include foreplay, also known as core play, because it's that important. So, foreplay helps create or build sexual arousal, increase blood flow, and increase physical and emotional intimacy. In fact, to get scientific, according to the Journal of Sex Research, male and female identified folks have reported their orgasms were more pleasurable when there is a greater buildup of sexual arousal and desire beforehand. Makes sense, right? So think about it. How would you initiate sex? Or what cues would you notice if a partner initiated sex? You might also be asking, what exactly is foreplay? So let's talk about it. Here's a few foreplay ideas. You might have tried some and not others. You might reflect on one or two that you want to implement next time. Massage with the bonus of massage candles. There's special candles you can buy for massage that have a little bit of a lower temperature so it doesn't burn the skin. Scented oils, like different scented massage oils. Skin exploration, kind of like the mindful touch exercise that we just did. Something like a feather, the tails of a flogger. Kissing, going beyond the lips, like the neck, the ears, or the thighs. Compliments or words of affirmation, dirty talk, romantic environments. You can light candles, dim the lighting, have the room be the perfect temperature, fresh sheets. Who doesn't love fresh sheets, right? A bath or a shower, warm things up, feel clean, get blood flowing. watching porn solo or together, solo or mutual masturbation. And mutual masturbation means that you're masturbating with each other, side by side, next to each other in the same room, on a video FaceTime call. And this can be really important for folks who have pain with penetration. It can kind of relax those muscles, make sure there's good blood flow and good lubricant to the area, and kind of can reduce some pain. Dancing, hugging, holding, or cuddling, but most importantly, ask them. Ask your partners what kind of foreplay do they like, how much foreplay do they like, how long do they want it to go on, is it a week of foreplay, 24 hours, 20 minutes, what works for them. So, spicing things up in the bedroom is a huge topic, and now we have the foundation of all the other things that we've touched on in this workshop, so we're now here to the exciting part. So here are a few smaller ways to add novelty, some baby steps. So you can change the speed, faster or slower than you usually go. Even a certain act can be faster or slower than usual. New positions, Google has a million. Adding in new or more foreplay, so you just got some ideas. Maybe you can think about, switching up what foreplay you use, having more time with that, adding in something new, a new location. Have you had sex in the bath or the shower, in the closet, in the kitchen, in the living room? And then some larger steps can be trying a toy for the first time or trying a new toy. It's almost Valentine's Day. There's lots of sales, so that's something you can do. Kink or BDSM, you can try it for the first time or try some new stuff or stuff that you haven't done in a while. Or also trying fantasies you've never engaged in. Maybe there's something that's been on your mind that you've wanted to try but haven't yet. That can be something that you can do. But how do you decide what it is that you want to try? And that brings us to our freebie. So our freebie is a yes, no, maybe list. And this is a menu of intimate and sexual acts. So you may have heard of some of them or done some of them and not others. And so it's going to have a few columns for you to write in. The yes column is where you're going to write acts that you want to try. Of this menu, you write down what you want to try. The maybe column is for acts that you would consider trying. Like maybe if it was your partner's yes, you'd do it. Maybe if it was a certain circumstance, you'd do it. And then the no column is for acts that you feel uncomfortable performing or receiving. So keep in mind that acts can have rules attached to them. So for example, if the menu said handcuffs, you could put handcuffs in your yes, but you could say, yes, I will try handcuffs, but only if they're fluffy and not if they're metal, right? So once you and all your partners fill out your list, you can compare and contrast them and create your own menu together of new things to try or things to go back to. So I am going to put the link in the description where you can input your email to receive this freebie. All you have to do is put in your email and then you get an instant download of the freebie and it's yours for free. All right. So a reminder that you are worth the effort to have the best sex life you can. By prioritizing your sex life, intimacy, and your partners through attending this workshop, you are already on the way to spicing up your sex life and having closer relationships. I know that it's going to feel hard at first, and that's okay. I have given you a lot of information in this hour. And you're building new neural pathways. It's supposed to feel hard. If you feel like you need more support around this, you can email me at byrd@heathershannon.co for a 15-minute consult for free. That's BYRD at Heather, HEATHER, Shannon, SHANNON.co, not .com, .co, for a free 15-minute consult. And to be upfront about my prices, individual sessions are $75 and couple polycule sessions are $100 after that free consult, and we do some longer sessions. So we have some time for Q&A. This will be going out as a premiere where I will be there in the chat to answer questions live. So go ahead and put them in the premiere chat, as well as the comment section down below. I'll be there to answer your questions in the comment section as well. If you want to find me, I'm on Instagram at sexedwithbyrd, SEXEDWITHBYRD. And if you are wanting to find me on another social media, it will be that handle or the handle at sexedwithbyrd with the E in sex removed. So that's SEXEDWITHBYRD. So Byrd is BYRD. My email is on the screen as well as my websites. I would love to hear from you. I would love to have a consult with you as well as hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much.